Welcome back to Les Schwab Tire Center's Outdoor GPS. It's time for Owin's Field Report, sponsored by Les Schwab Tire Centers.
Now, some of the reports that I'd have to share we'll get to here in just a second. Very important to myself. I've had a chance to watch a young man grow up, not 20 yet, 20 years old, and literally fighting for his life as we speak. Great kid. His name is Kale. And again, I've had a chance to watch him grow up. I've literally been around this kid since he was a baby. And he's just a very cool kid, and he's really fighting for his life right now. And we wanted to try to get the word out there. There's a couple of events that are going on here in the next week or so, and then the following. But we're going to get to that in a second. Here's a couple of photos of Ante, and again, barely pushing 20, and he's going to be needing a heart transplant. I can't even imagine what he's having to deal with, and the family are having to deal with. It is certainly something that we are all scared to death of, and this is on our doorstep, and we'd love to be able to get the information out there so that everyone might be able to help if there's any way that you can. There's a couple of events that are coming up, and we can go full page with that. You can see this kid is just loving the outdoors. Here's the full page. You can see November 22nd and 23rd at the Pump House Annex. This is down in Terrebonne, Oregon, just not too far from Bend. The 22nd and 23rd and the 7th and 8th. Also, there's a GoFundMe page that's going on right now. A Giving Heart Saves a Heart. Christmas for a Heart. Benefit funding Ante Kale. Great kid. I hope I can see him grow up until he gets old and fat and ugly like I am. And we're doing whatever we can to get that word out there. So Ante, you're in our heart. As always, and we're going to do everything we can to make sure we keep you around. It's just that simple. You can't go out yet. Anyway, better move on. I better move on, or I'm going to lose it. Let's take a look at river levels real quick. This is the biggest deal currently, right? Now, there's a lot of things, a lot of options that are out there from the coast, chasing some salmon around. A lot of folks getting ready for upcoming winter steelhead season. Some rumors that are going on about that. Those are strictly rumors, okay? Nothing confirmed. But all this stuff helps. Any fresh water coming into the system helps out significantly. And you can see they've kind of backed off on what they were forecasting on the rivers. Hopefully that is not a sign that it's not as much rain coming. Hopefully that changes for more going forward. But you'll see this also in some of the smaller rivers up and down the coast. They did back it down a sliver on the Clackamas, so it looks like there might not be as much rain coming into the area, or possibly it's going to stay a little bit colder, keep locking some of that water up on the mountains. But you can see there's still some significant bounces coming. It's going to change every river, period, for the better. Not alone, or let alone, it's going to sweep them out. It's going to get all the debris out. It's going to get the leaves out, which is a nightmare this time of year. So hopefully it just flushes the whole system, gives it a good fresh, it gets some fresh fall Chinook into the region, into some of those rivers up and down the coast, and then just setting the stage for winter steelhead to start making their way into the river system. So this is all great stuff. Again, hopefully there's more. Hopefully there's not too much, where there's flooding or anything like that. We don't want to see that. But at the very least, this is all good stuff to look forward to. If you live on any of those small rivers up and down the coast, keep that in mind. You got some water coming, and it looks like some heavy winds. But again, we'll find out from Carly what that's going to really look like here in just a couple of minutes. Also, though, there's an upcoming event. Oh, okay. We're going to go to that one. Okay, no, we're going to go to the CCA event. Bill Monroe Jr., who is our guest here this upcoming segment, is the guest speaker at the CCA or Southwest Washington chapter meeting. This is Wednesday coming up. And if you ever wanted to give Bill a hard time, and boy, there's no shortage of you out there, this is a perfect time to do it. If you're a member, make sure you go out and get involved. If you're not a member, here's another great way that you can go meet the folks from the CCA and learn what reality is of what the CCA does here in the Northwest, if it's Washington, Oregon or not, or California for that matter. For some of you down there that are watching this morning, good morning to you. Here's a great way that you can do so. Please do. Go get some real info as opposed to what you might hear or read on ridiculous websites here in the region. Believe it or not, it's actually quite comical. Also, though, don't forget to send an email to Jason Hambley over at Procure, who's, matter of fact, our guest this upcoming Saturday, but we'll get to that after a little while. Send them that email. You'll be entered into that contest that is drawn every Monday morning. And we just had a fact-finding, I guess, photo from one of our viewers that it is real. I promise it's real. Oh, it looks like we got a live report coming in. So let's get through our weather with Carly here, and then we'll get to Mark from the Columbia. We'll find out what's going on over there real time. Hi, Carly. Good morning.
Good morning.
Did the rain forecast get back down a little bit?
A little bit, yes.
Okay.
But never fear, there's still a lot of rain coming. Now, previously we had anticipated, our next weather system to hit us a little earlier in the afternoon today, but now I actually think it's going to hit closer to 5 or 6 this evening. That'll just bring some lighter rain totals to those of us in Portland. Along the coast, it will hit a little earlier in the afternoon, probably around 4. And then that overnight will bring about 1 inch of rain to Portland itself. Right now, excuse me, can't speak. The highs for today are going to be around 58 degrees in Portland, closer to 60 over on the coast, a whole range in the 50s over in eastern Oregon. So it's going to be a mostly cloudy day today until that next system rolls through. Like I said, some light totals this evening. Overnight, it'll bring about 1 inch of rain to Portland. Tomorrow, we'll have some moments of sun breaks here and there with some scattered showers as well. And that same pattern will continue throughout the night, Monday into the afternoon on Tuesday. But then our next big system, look at all that green off to the side there. That is when the next big system is going to hit. So between Tuesday and Wednesday, we are expecting about 1.5 inches of rain in Portland itself. Over on the coast, that should be at least a couple inches of rain at that point too. And then for the rest of this week, we will be in the mid to upper 50s for temperatures. Like I said, most of the day today is going to be pretty cloudy until that next system hits us in the afternoon or early evening.
That's okay. It's a good start. Let's hope by next weekend we come back and we got more rain in the forecast. Again, everyone, that's just me being selfish, but we definitely need it for the mountains and for a lot of the things that we love in the outdoors. Carly, thank you as always. Have a great week, okay?
You too. Thanks.
All right, we've got a few phone calls that are holding. Let's start out with Mark. Mark's on the Columbia. Stephen, you're on the doorstep, so be ready for that. We've got Mark with a live report from the east side. Mark, what area are you in over there?
We're on the Columbia, fishing the mouth of the Klickitat again this morning.
Oh, very good. Hopefully the weather or the wind is a little bit better for you.
Yes, today is very calm. It's pretty much flat out here today. There's about 15 or 18 of us. Haven't really seen much action. I talked to one boat of twitchers that did really good this morning. There were 2 guys who limited out by about 8:30.
Oh, wow.
And, yeah, the rest of the guys that are out here trolling, we're kind of having a little struggle. But we're just grinding her out.
With the weather the way it is, obviously it's a little bit better than having 3-foot rollers rolling up on you from the west.
Yes, sir.
Is anybody out there hover fishing, or is everybody trolling this morning? What's everybody doing?
There is one boat twitching, and everybody else is trolling.
Okay, gotcha.
It looks like pretty much everybody's running 316s. I've got a silver pink 2.5 stuffer bait today.
And that's your go-to right now?
Yeah. I do have some magworts that I might throw on a long line here this afternoon.
Well, you're going to be sticking it out. I like that. Now, Mark has been gracious enough to call us quite a bit the last handful of weeks to share some info from that side of Bonneville. It's the 10th of November, Mark. How long are you going to be chasing silvers there around the mouth of the Klickitat?
Hopefully at least another week or 2. I mean, we'll just kind of have to keep an eye on the counts as best we can, but I would think that at least another week or 2. And I see they did open the John Day for steelhead, for hatchery steelhead, so we might be heading up that way later in the month.
Kind of exciting that actually happened. One last question before I have to cut out, Mark. When you're down there and the conditions are favorable, like it is now with not too much wind, are you trolling upriver or downriver? Both? What are you doing?
Both. Uphill, downhill. Kind of, and instead of making really long runs, I'm going to shorten it up, and we're just going to do probably 10 or 15 trolls up and down each way. Before we were running quite a ways down river and then trolling up and then trolling back down. So typically we'll go up and downhill both ways. unless the wind prohibits that.
Gotcha. Mark, good luck out there. Be safe, okay? Catch yourself some silvers before it all wraps up. We appreciate the heads up, as always. Take care, sir. Can we take Steve's call real quick? Steven is from Portland, and it looks like he's got a question or a follow-up question from yesterday. Steve, what can we follow up with?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Steven. What you got?
Well, yesterday you said that you use 60 to 80 pound braided line.
Yes.
But you said you use fluorocarbon for your leader. How long liters do you run, and what weight of fluorocarbon?
Okay, so like I mentioned yesterday, if you're going to be running in the small rivers for big fish this time of year, especially up and down the coast, which is what that tech tip was about, you're going to have that situation where if you get bit, doesn't matter if it's eggs, doesn't matter if it's a plug, those fish, for whatever reason, they know where they need to go, and that's to the debris. It's either dead heads, down trees, whatever it is. So 65 to 80 pound mainline braid to a 40 to 50 pound fluorocarbon leader. What that does, most folks might go, wow, that's a lot of, well, it is. Don't worry about that when you're talking about Chinook, especially in those smaller rivers. They're not paying any attention to the leader size, and fluorocarbon hides very, very well, even in those 40 to 50 to 60 pound leader ranges. All that's going to do is just give you that extra ability to stop the fish without breaking everything off. Not that that won't happen, but it is an advantage to have that heavy of a leader. But as far as length goes, I like anywhere from 48 to 60 inches, and that just happens to be however far along I pull my my leader board out, or whatever it is, if I'm pulling it right off the spool or whatever. Sometimes I'll go a full wingspan, sometimes I'll just go 4 feet. It doesn't really matter, but I don't want it too short. I want to have enough leader there where I've got room to work with, if that makes any sense.
Oh, okay.
Okay? If you get out there...
How much weight do you run off your leader?
Say that again, sir. I'm sorry.
How much weight do you run off your leader?
How much weight?
Yeah, how heavy a weight?
Of a drop. That all depends on where you are. Now, if you're running a plug, in some spots, you don't need any weight at all, because they're going to dive down that 5 to 8 foot, 10 foot, depending on which plug that you use. If I'm going to be on the anchor in some of those spots in those rivers, you can certainly do that. I'm only going to use whatever I can get away with. If it's 3 ounces, if it's 5 ounces, or if it's 6, depending on flow. I want the least amount of lead on there that I can get away with. I would opt, though, for using a diver. If I absolutely needed to get down even deeper, I would stick with the diver. They're a little bit less snaggy with debris around. Again, not that they're not going to get hung up, but it's a little less grabby than having some lead back there. Now, if you're bouncing lead and eggs, of course, that's a different story, but it all depends on where you are, Stephen. Try to get away with the least amount of lead that you can, especially with the plug back there. You just want to get it down to where that plug is where the fish are, which is going to be right on the bottom in most cases. So, Stephen, I hope that helps you out, sir. Get out there and have some fun. The report that I got yesterday, again, not confirmed, and what I call a confirmed report is if I see a photo, okay? There's some big fish running around in multiple different river systems. 3 that I can think of off the top that are producing. Again, I haven't seen the photo, but pushing that size with a 3 in it in the front. That's a good size fish in a small system, and they're fun to go after. There's no question about it. Anyway, let's go ahead and cut to a break. When we come back, I'm going to have Bill Monroe Jr. from Bill Monroe Outdoors. We're going to talk about what he did this morning. Sounds like he's probably already done. But they're crabbing down there in Astoria, and there's a big gig going on down there. Also, we're going to talk about our upcoming sturgeon retention season above Bonneville. That'll be a good one, especially for those that like to fish that fishery. We'll be right back.
Outdoor GPS is brought to you by P-Line, because we fish, by Hawken Fishing, perfection in fishing gear, and by Haxton's Canvas and Upholstery, the trusted name of the Pacific Northwest.